to kill, Kilawa, shoot to kill, Ramasa, kiss the poor, the farmer, kiss the poor, the farmer, brr, pa, pa, brr, pa, pa, attention.
We are asking you and asking this house not to allow the president to speak here up until there is a process to rehabilitate him. There must be a rehabilitation process. Zuma is the one who must go.
Sergeant at Arms Asim, Honorable Koza, and Honorable Mulaudzi.
In the past 10 years, a new political party has begun to gain traction in South Africa and looks to threaten the current establishment. The Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF for short, formed in 2013 after founder Julius Malema was ousted from the ruling African National Congress, the ruling party in South Africa for the past 30 years. The EFF is a self-described militant movement with inspiration from the Marxist and Leninist schools of thought. The EFF promises some drastic changes that would massively change the current state of South Africa. Their promises could mean massive improvements in life for many South Africans, but also hold the potential for drastic negative changes for the government and a minority of South Africans. The EFF can be classified as a populist party through how they frame themselves and the incumbent political parties. If you use the definition from Mude and Kaltwasser, as a populist leader or party representing the pure people working against the corrupt elite, the EFF fits. The EFF sees itself as the voice of the people, in their case, the overwhelmingly poor black population, while the elite are the ruling ANC and the minority white population that holds most of the nation's land and wealth. The EFF sees itself as the party that will change South Africa for the better. Better quality of life for the impoverished majority black South Africans, while also righting the wrongs of apartheid that they think the ANC has failed to address. Central to the EFF's belief is economic freedom in our time. The EFF plans to do this with some radical plans. According to their 2024 election manifesto, they plan to nationalize the mining industry, nationalize banks, and expropriate all land without compensation for redistribution. These changes sound appealing at first. Governmental control over the mining industry can improve wages and working conditions for the miners, and control over the banking industry looks to eliminate all corruption and foreign interests in the country. The land expropriation is where it gets tricky. Seizing all land with no compensation can seriously threaten the livelihoods of many South Africans, majority white South Africans. And giving agricultural land to the people with no idea how to farm could threaten the current food supply chain in South Africa. Julius Malema is the founder, president, and self-styled commander-in-chief of the EFF. Once a member of the African National Congress and the president of the ANC Youth League, Malema was ousted from the party after the ANC found him guilty of inciting divisions within the party and for being too extreme. After his dismissal from the party, he went and formed the EFF. As Margaret Canovian states, populists see themselves as true Democrats, voicing popular grievances and opinions systematically ignored by the governments, mainstream parties, and the media. Malema fits into that definition. He has said that the problems of unemployment and poverty have gone largely ignored, and it is up to him and the EFF to right these wrongs. Malema fits into the charismatic strongman style of populists as described by Mude and Kaltwasser. He has proclaimed himself the commander-in-chief of a militant movement, and he is also prone to violent outbursts, as we saw with him singing the modified version of the Kill the Boer song, an apartheid song calling for the killing of white South Africans.
To kill, Kilawa, shoot to kill, Ramasa, kiss the poor, the farmer, kiss the poor, the farmer.
Malema is also prone to outbursts. He has often interrupted Parliament, and Malema and his party mates have gone into physical confrontations with other parties due to these outbursts.
proceedings. I now suspend the proceedings.
If the EFF can gain enough seats in the National Assembly and put Malema in the presidential office, some potential problems can arise. As Apps and Rumman state, if they are able to acquire sufficient power, such leaders are therefore likely to bypass essential parts of the representative and constitutional checks and balances, meaning that for the EFF to enforce its radical policies, they would have to rewrite parts of the South African Constitution, which can undermine the modern democracy many black South Africans have worked so hard to get after the fall of apartheid. Full democracy is still relatively young in South Africa, only 30 years old, and the threat of overhauling the Constitution could lead to the EFF gaining an authoritarian government. The EFF is also engaged in race hatred activities. As Vishwas Statkar explains, the EFF and Julius Malema has called for the use of rubber bullets on white South Africans and has even called all Indian South Africans who are also affected by apartheid racists. Statkar also writes, "This is a deeply polarizing and radicalizing politics. Not only are these assertions unconstitutional, but it breeds deep race hatred. It is important to remember that South Africa, only 30 years ago, repealed apartheid laws, and Nelson Mandela had the goal of bringing all South Africans together under one flag regardless of race. The use of hate speech and racist rhetoric threatens to reopen the wounds of apartheid, which may lead to political oppression and violence, this time against the white South African population."